This is Lakewood Cemetery in Minneapolis, Minnesota. 1871, they say. This mountain feels a lot older. These obelisks feel a lot older. If anyone's from Minnesota that's watching right now, this is the Pillsbury Mill, guys, monument. Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Pillsbury Mill, the Pillsbury family. 1871, this cemetery opened. The Pillsbury A Mill exploded and burned in 1876, I want to say. And the guy must have died shortly after that. I don't know all the facts about him. I really want to get up close to some of these statues, though. See what's really going on with these eyes and these statues. If anybody actually follows my page, you'd see the 30 videos or so that I've made about electrotyping human bodies, where they turned corpses into statues with electricity and copper. I found about 20 articles in the newspaper from the 1880s, 1890s, and 1900s explicitly saying how they were turning bodies into statues. I'll find one from the 1700s. There's none in Minnesota that say they're from the 1700s. If you find a grave from the 1700s, all right, yeah, I'll look. Sorry about that. I read it wrong. Inside his bones, yes. That's what we're here looking at. That's what I think. It's always a burn story. Yep. Sorry, I'm new to live, so I'm kind of scrolling back through these comments. I'm new. I don't know how to do all this, so bear with me. None in Ohio either. Yeah, nothing started before 1870 or so in Minnesota. Wow, there's a couple cemeteries in Minnesota from 1850s that I've actually found. If you scroll back through my page, you'll see some of them. There's one over by Hastings that's like 1853, 5 years before the Minnesota became a state. Oh, I'm really zoomed in. Sorry. Never heard of the electrotyping bodies. Yeah, if you follow my page right now and go the newest collection or whatever they're called, albums or folders that you go, I tried to put as many of them that I could find. There's like 20 videos that I've made showing the newspaper articles and then random statues around Minneapolis that I've walked up on. And then a whole bunch of just random ones from around the world, basically. And the theory goes that any copper statue could be either the actual person inside of it, or they also in electroplating, just regular electroplating, like a vase or for a book or whatever, like regular just electroplating, not for bodies. They could make duplicates and replicates and manipulate what it looked like. So once the body was, once they had the body, they could turn it into a statue and then they could replicate it, duplicate it. And then copper is malleable also. So if they had a body that was posed like that, they could heat up the copper arms and just bend them out where they wanted. They could manipulate the fingers, they could manipulate the smile, they could manipulate the eyes with just a little bit of heat. Copper is very soft or malleable. You can do a lot with it with heat. And then once you had a copper statue, my theory, I haven't found any proof of this or any articles in the newspaper, but if you had a copper statue that looked very realistic and lifelike, you could just take any kind of cement or concrete mix, mortar mix, paste, basically make it very runny and run it right over the copper statue. And now you have a concrete statue. Oh, shoot. I didn't realize I was getting all these comments. I find statues in my city and also maybe electrotyping figure. Yeah. I mean, it could be literally any statue. And they did animals. There's an article in the newspaper from 1887 or something like that, that some guy electrotyped an egg sandwich or something like that, an egg something. And another one where a different guy electrotyped, it just said he electrotyped a piece of salt pork, just SALT space PORK. So they were electrotyping plants, they were electrotyping animals, and they were also electrotyping humans. One article says they've done 11 bodies and they were displayed at the Paris World's Fair. I'm out of breath from walking around and talking, sorry. Petrified people, yes. Could be. Well, not so much petrified, more electrotyped is what I think. They would take the corpse. I'll just run through it all again now that I got the most viewers I've ever had on live. This is cool. But the newspaper says they could take a corpse, dip it in a copper sulfate, so a liquid form of copper, and then electrocute or electrify that liquid, and it would turn the human body into a statue. Nikola Tesla was there. I have actually searched for Nikola Tesla and electrotyping bodies to be in the same article or something like that, and he's around electrotyping, but he's not. He never did it, as far as I can tell. But there are like 7 different Nikola Tesla copper, bronze statues around New York and around that area. So maybe they did it to him. I'm back at the Pillsbury Monument. Hey, I got to scroll back through these comments here, read some of them. Sorry. I follow you and watching you. Yeah, I seen your comments actually. I think I responded to one yesterday. Sorry, this is not what I do for work or anything. So this is just a hobby. And I was actually not looking for anything to do with electrotyping bodies when I found that article. And I can't keep up with all the comments and all the followers. So I appreciate you following me, Hubert. So nobody exists before the 1800s. Apparently, I don't look down at the ground as much as I should when I come out to these places, but petrified people, I think I was just going over that one. I think of the reset, hence 250 years in America. Yeah. This is the first live I've seen you do. Hi, everyone. Yeah. I've done a few now, random. I did a couple like 4 in the morning, ones at the state capitol and the cathedral in St. Paul one time. And I've done a couple at the Stone Arch Bridge, but they're very brief. This is the longest one, and I was up to like 48 viewers or something at one point. That was kind of crazy. What you said made me thought of the Statue of Liberty. I just made another video showing the Statue of Liberty as it was being brought over here, they say, or whatever, where the face is a piece and the foot is a piece and the hand is all a piece. And I inserted the articles that show how they would, or as a video showing how you electrotype a vase, and they can take it and pull the parts off in pieces, and it looked just like how they did the Statue of Liberty. The Pinkertons, yeah, the Pinkertons is very, very interesting. That I think there's the Pinkertons logo for their company was an eyeball, an all-seeing eye. So I think their whole motif or whatever you call it, like the Pinkertons are still alive and well with all the flock cameras and all that shit. Same playbook. And the red bricks, yeah, I mean everything. I want a cobblestone driveway. That's in the works. There's an old tree. Looks like they tried to burn it at some point, maybe. I'm gonna make my way back towards my truck now, I think. Here, I'll show some of these on the ground. 1842, 1849. Yeah, no one born in the 1700s up on this mound, at least. Let me get back to a stone statue, and I'll go over my whole little stone theory again. Here's one. I saw somebody say, could it be done now, making people into stone? And my theory goes that they would, or they could, have been electrotyping the body, so turning them into a copper statue, and then just making a runny. That's all. I mean, this is all probably Portland cement mostly. It's not like granite or anything. Well, maybe. What up, Fred? I don't know if that's granite or what, but I have articles where they were making cement out of Kasota stone and St. Cloud granite and all this different stuff. So they, in theory, if they had a statue electrotyped and just sitting there, they could also right there mix up a whole bunch of cement mix, mortar mix, whatever you want to call it, like a runny paste of cement, and just pour it over it and let it dry and then smooth it out. This one's rough, but they could make a polished marble looking statue with copper on the inside And if you had a runny paste of cement or whatever, it would still show all the details. And like this doesn't even show great detail. So like inside of this could be a copper statue with just cement poured over it. I know like I piss off some artists and stuff like that in my comments. Like sculptors have said, well, you're taking away credit from. And I'm not saying every statue is body is an electrotype body. I'm walking over to the best monument that I've found in this whole place. Look at this copper. Oh, it looks like it's copper plated. Harry Butler, 1944. Oh, he's only like 25 years old. Harry Butts. So I'll walk over to this one, and then I gotta go get back on the road. I forget what I was even talking about on my way over here. But this is one of the craziest monuments. And this guy, Fridley, he was a real treat to learn about. That's not him, that's some chick. And this guy, Fridley, right over there in Minneapolis, the guy who they built this monument for when he was, I think it was right before he was the governor of Minnesota or right after, he convinced the state to let him take like 20 acres of land. It was like right over on the other side of that river, of that lake. And he started his own town, and he was basically the king of the town because there was no mayor, there was no government or anything like that. He was just a guy that owned all the plots of the land, and he built a bunch of businesses on it, and there was like no tax rules and all this stuff. And on the internet, it said that he ran it like he was the king. It's kind of fitting that he built this for himself after all that. And the town only lasted like 10 years or something like that. There was some story in it where I think it was when Abraham Lincoln was up for president. There was like 178 voters in that town. The town, it wasn't Fridley, because there is a town now called Fridley in Minnesota. But the guy, Fridley, he had his own little town that I forget what it was called. And all 178 voters voted for the other guy that was running against Abraham Lincoln. So it was a completely pro, I guess, pro slavery or whatever you want to call it, town right over there in Minnesota in the North, pre Civil War, run by this guy who they say ran it like a king. I know that was kind of a random story that probably made no sense, but that's what happens when I don't have my books and my stuff to read off of. I just ramble. I'm thinking about starting some kind of show or podcast called Wild Tangent and try. I would start off the show where it's talking about one thing, and then by the end of it, the whole goal is to try to remember what we even started talking about after like an hour. No, I'm just rambling and wandering. I haven't looked down at my phone for like 10 minutes, so I don't know if anyone's saying anything. Oh, what up, Ann? And another thing with all these giant statues, they could, once they were electrotype bodies, they could manipulate them and create duplicates and replicate them. So, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to. These are steps right here, but I don't know if I'm supposed to walk on them. I want to get up close to her eyeballs. Fuck it. This is for any time. I don't know if he's in here watching, but I saw him do this, and I told him I was going to do this every time I see one of these statues. So the eyes always look a little off. A little too real. Wonder if she was actually reading that book when they electrotyped her and poured the cement over her. 1817. Hey, we got a 1700 person here. I don't know who said that at the beginning of this, but we got a 1700s person here. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what to do with all this history stuff because I like to do it, but it's hard to do it if it doesn't make money or whatever. It's hard to like convince people that I'm just gonna go walk around the cemetery. So if there's some way to still do it the way that I want to do it, and also like make everyone else think I'm working or something like that, that'd be cool. So I don't know how to start a podcast. I went on Luminary Lighthouses one time, and I think I started a Patreon account one time too one night when I was up too late, but I really don't know. It would uh swipe left to close. Might come alive, yeah. You got just like these weird ones too, or these cool ones. Donaldson. All right. I've been rambling and talking too much. I gotta go. I had a whole life outside of cemeteries. Maybe this was episode 1. You should ask one of those guys how to start a podcast. I'm sure they. Oh yeah, I know. I always mean to, and then life always happens. That's why all this stuff is just random as I'm driving home from work. Swing through all these places. But yeah, maybe this is the motivation. Appreciate you guys. I'm out of here.